Good morning, everyone, again. Welcome to Executive Insights by Mediacorp. Today's topic is to understand first-party versus zero-party data's impact on marketing strategy. My name is Gordon Ng. I'm your host for this session. Currently, I'm the lead for audience insights here at Mediacorp. And with me are two experts who will be speaking on today's topic. Laurenz Koehler, MD, and co-founder of Duxton Consulting, and also Mahmood Kalantar, partner at Tail Risk Analytics. Laurenz, if you could please give us a quick introduction of yourself.
Well, good morning, Gordon. My background is advertising, actually. I came through all the big networks of the BBDOs and the JWTs of this world, and then decided in 2009 to start my own company with Duxton Consulting. And then via research ventured into data, into AI and machine learning. That's kind of in a nutshell about me.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Laurenz. And Mahmood, if you could just give us a brief introduction to yourself.
Oh, thanks, Gordon. Hello, everyone. I'm Mahmood. I'm with Tail Risk Analytics. We are a machine learning company. We've been around for about 10 years or so, and we focus on applying machine learning to sales and marketing. So pretty much a domain which is very relevant to this session. Looking forward to have a good conversation. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much, Mahmood. Next, this session has been jointly brought to you by Mediacorp and the Association of Advertising and Marketing Singapore. Let me hand the time over to Nick Goh, Director of Training and Education at the AAMS, for a few words.
Thanks, Gordon. Good morning, everyone. I'm Nick Goh, your friendly marketer. The Association of Advertising and Marketing Singapore, AAMS, is the voice of Singapore's advertising and marketing industry. Our members hail from agencies, media owners, and brands and client marketers. All that's important under one roof, AAMS. At AAMS, we have two essential responsibilities. One, recognize the best through our award shows, such as Singapore Media Marketing Awards, or SMMA, FE Singapore, and Gong, the Creative Circle Awards. And two, to train marketing practitioners by getting industry professionals to train practitioners, turning them, hopefully, into expert marketers. So if you want to know more about what I do at AMS and more, let's connect on LinkedIn. So just look for the Chinese guy with the beard. Thanks, and back to you, Gordon.
Okay, before we get on to this morning's presentations, we would like to get an understanding of where all of us stand. By answering this poll question, now you would see the poll question appear to you in a pop-up. And we would like to understand whether or not your brand collect first or zero-party data, right? And click as you see appropriate as to where your brand or your company currently stands. And then we will see the results show on the screen. We'll just take a few moments there. Yes, we collect first-party data. Yes, we collect zero-party data, or no, etc. Okay, we're counting down for a few more seconds before we show you the results to this particular poll question. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, let's have a look at the poll results, please. Brilliant. Quite a lot of you collect already first-party data. Fair number of you collect also zero-party data. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Now let's move on to the next poll question. We want to ask whether or not your brand utilizes first-party data or zero-party data in your marketing campaigns. Now the pop-up will also show on your screen now. Respond to that question as you see appropriate. We'll give you a little bit more time to respond, because I think there are quite a number of us in this webinar. Now, Laurenz and Mahmood, as the poll results are being collected, What do you think the answer is going to be for this particular question, whether or not our webinar attendees actually utilize first or zero party data?
Yeah, I think the assumption would be that not many use first or zero party data effectively, probably maybe to an extent, but not really to the extent that they would be happy with it, which I think that leads to the fact that they're attending the workshop here today. So that will be my guess.
Sure. Mahmood, what about yourself? What have been your assumptions about this webinar before we even got started?
I very much agree. I think there is generally a lag between collecting data, being aware of the opportunity versus applying it. So I expect the results to be lower than the previous survey that you did just.
All right, cool. And can we see the results? Brilliant. 56% among us already use first-party data. 14% use zero-party data. That's actually, to me, a surprising number. Brilliant. 7% do not use either. And 35%, not even sure how we can start. And that's the whole point of this particular webinar. So thank you for that. And yeah, good. Let's close that screen. We'll move on to the next section of this morning's webinar. Just a moment. Let me close this screen. Okay, first, allow me to set some context as to why we would have any discussion about data at all. Now, in the market, we've been talking about the deprecation of third-party data since 2016, 2017, and it would be helpful to understand the backdrop for why there's been such momentum to shut down third-party data or third-party cookies. Now, if you recall in the 2010s, there was much furore around Cambridge Analytica's hand in the American presidential elections. Data from millions of Facebook accounts were analyzed to understand individual preferences, fears, and motivations. And the way that data had been used was to build detailed psychographic profiles of the American voter, such that highly targeted social media campaigns could be launched to persuade the American voter in a particular way, especially in swing states. This in itself really isn't anything nefarious. However, the problem was because Facebook had shared this data without explicit consent of Facebook users. And because the coverage in the media had broken out worldwide, it brought consumers' fears about privacy and transparency to the fore, setting off waves of actions that we now witness even till today, right? So that was really the impetus, setting off regulatory pressures on both sides of the Atlantic and having a market response in the past couple of years. You will see Chrome that will soon stop support for third-party cookies. On Apple Safari, they've already implemented the intelligent tracking prevention feature. And on Firefox, it by default blocks third-party cookies. And really beyond 2024, and we see this already happening, companies, businesses are focused on first-party data or zero-party data strategies to maintain being able to engage with their customers that much more effectively. Now, moving on to the next slide, we really just wanted to touch base on some of these definitions of what third-party data is. Bear in mind that these are just illustrations and may not exist in real life. But see, for example, Coca-Cola is launching a new drink and they want to be able to have this campaign rollout on social media. What they do is that they will partner with data brokers such as Lotome or IOTA, right? And very, very detailed social media behavior, online purchase behavior, online browsing behavior is analyzed so that Coca-Cola would be able to identify health and fitness enthusiasts who can be found on social media platforms such as Facebook, IG, or even TikTok. And based on that analysis, Lotome or IOTA provides Coca-Cola a very micro-targeted campaign can be run on these social media platforms that will hit this health or fitness enthusiasts that are on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Now, moving on to second-party data. Second-party data, for example, is when Nike wants to launch a long-distance daily trainer, a brand new shoe. They partner with Spotify. Two businesses are in agreement with each other that they would run this campaign together. Spotify would provide analysis on who is on their platform, who has got playlists with workout music on them. Further data will be analyzed by Nike to identify those individuals on the Spotify platform who may be interested in the shoe, and then targeted ads will be launched on Spotify whenever these playlists are played, right? So that's second-party data where two businesses are in business with each other. First-party data, say for example, we're talking about a supplements retailer, right? And they are analyzing their own data, what products are being searched on, what kind of queries are being made in the search bar, what kind of demographics for a particular product they are seeing an increased interest in. Now, for example, if they notice that there is a segment of people very interested in brain health supplements, they would then tag such individuals as having an interest in, say, for example, mental optimization, right? And then a campaign is launched on their platform to make sure that they target such individuals to get them to buy the latest in mental optimization supplementation. That's first-party data when you analyze your own data set. Now, zero-party data is an interesting one. It's been around for decades, actually. If you think along the lines of the ultra-rich and people who would buy supercars and sometimes buy supercars in multiples, such individuals will voluntarily share their information with the sales representative of that particular brand. Say, we're talking about Ferraris, for example, right? They would share information like the birth date of their mother-in-law, their wedding anniversary dates, their liking for musical theater, etc., right? And all of this information, which are very intimate and very accurate, allows for the sales representative to reciprocate in a manner that is meaningful, to reach out and engage with the customer that is meaningful, right? Send tickets to London so that such ultra-rich individuals are able to fly over to watch the latest musical theater show, right? So zero-party data has been around for decades, but with now, because it exists in the realm of the digital, so a lot of that data is now being used on customer data platforms. So that's zero-party data. Now, next, with that, I'll hand the time over to Laurenz to speak to us about the impact of zero-party and first-party data on marketing. So over to you, Laurenz.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gordon. My perspective is, first of all, let's understand why is this so important? Why is it such a big deal to think about data when it comes to marketing? Let's look first through the consumer mindset and see why this might be relevant. We all know that we as consumers have plenty of choices. Wherever we go, wherever we're looking for, we have tons of possibilities. So what we're not craving is more choices, but what we're craving actually is simplicity. Someone then can help us to dial it down, say, what are the 2 to 3 max options for me that are relevant to me? So that's what we're looking for, and that's what we're hoping for. So when you look at Google, for example, they've built their entire business on that proposition to help people to really focus on something that's relevant to them. And it's all built on the idea of data, all built on the idea of following and understanding how you make your choices, so I can actually give you better recommendations of what you're looking for. So giving that simplicity to the people is something that they're really craving for. And it could be as simple as what Amazon built their business on originally, by saying, look, when you look for a book like this, you might also be interested in a book like that. Other people have been looking at that. You actually bought already that book. So there's lots of opportunity to take the data from people, but also give back to them lots of benefits so that they will appreciate it. It's the same for Netflix. It's the same for many of the big boys in the digital space, that they come up with the recommendations that you are looking for, making your life easier and making you come back, finding what you need quicker and better, and which eventually brings you back all the time. And that's the whole point. But it could be also as simple as just personalized emails, understanding what are you looking for, what have you bought before. So does it make that a difference to you to look at this right now? So calling you by name and knowing your birthday and so forth. Or it could be a little bit more complex by saying, okay, you bought that item, so maybe that goes along really well with this item. Would you be interested in that? So you can, there's lots of ways you can play with this, but what's really critical about this is actually people want that. So when you ask people on the research terms, say, okay, what about marketing personalization? Given all the fear of what data can do, actually, over 70% say, yeah, they appreciate that. And I think that number will even go up because more and more people are looking for that simplicity and are aware that if, at least most companies that are trustworthy, if they use my data, they will actually serve me better. So from that angle, from the consumer mindset, I think it's a clear must for any marketer to look into data and how that could help them to be better and personalize their offerings as well as their communications. When you look from a business perspective, it's almost a default version that if you have not applied machine learning yet, and you have been rolling on a thumb rules or on experience and all the established rules for your business, then by default you will accomplish a double-digit growth rate when you talk to your customers. So when we started working with Samsung like some 7 years ago, we were able to do threefold, fourfold, fivefold of whatever was to accomplish in terms of KPI. Because they haven't applied it at the time. We were helping them to build the infrastructure and really tap into that. And that's what we've seen with other clients as well, whether it's business to consumer, like on Samsung, across the different categories, or it's even business to business when it comes to, like, for example, Unilever in the Philippines, talking to all the mom and pop shops, asking them to order. And if you would then adapt the promotional targeting and give, so that's not meant to be. And give each store the right promotion, you can not only be more efficient in the way that you communicate, but you also can increase your revenue. And I think that was something we accomplished within 4 weeks, basically. So from the business point of view, it also makes a lot of sense to invest in data and really get your game up and really understand how to deal with that. Now, when it comes to applying, so when you look from the zero-party data, and Gordon was talking about this already, it can be as simple as just understand who your customer is in terms of what's the birthday, how old is that customer actually. Figure, like, we've worked with banks all along the last 10 years, and this whole point of having a 360-degree understanding of the customer never really came through good enough. But what a difference it would make if I come to a bank website and I'm 50 years old, I want to see something different than if someone else comes in and is 20 or 30. So by default, it makes a huge difference if I understand at least like the basics about who my customer is. So how old, like some social demographics, life stage by itself is for most businesses absolutely critical. So that would be kind of the lowest level that you need to understand about your customer to actually serve them better. And then, of course, you can build upon that by understanding what's their interest, not only in terms of hobbies and lifestyle, but also their interest within the category that you're actually working. So having a better grip on that. And then like the next level of sophistication is to go into needs and motivations and psychology and really understand. So if you're using that product, why are you actually using that product? What's behind it? What's really driving that desire? So there's different levels of zero-party data that you can accomplish and just get it yourself. You can run some research, you can talk to your customers. But it's absolutely invaluable to have that to accomplish more in your strategies when it comes to marketing. So just a simple example is the 10-year-old project with Celcom in Malaysia. We've done research with them and came up with like 5 different segments and understand how they spend, where they spend, when they spend, and so forth. Just from a simple research exercise. We then were able to cut down from the 5 segments into, let's focus on only those 3. It's only 63% of the market, but it makes 82% of the revenue. So by default, it's a way more efficient way to do marketing by figuring out who to focus on and what to focus on. And then, of course, it comes along with the understanding what they're looking for. So it drives innovation, it drives product development, proposition work, strategy, and how to reach out to these people, and so forth, and so forth. So very simple exercise to do some research or even talk to customers yourself can help you to guide your strategy quite dramatically. And of course, when you go into the next level, you can figure out, okay, what is their need? Why are they actually looking for that product? Just to give you another example, we've worked with Visa and a consulting group there, again, 7-8 years ago. It's an old project, so I can share this. And one of the key things that came out of this project was that one key denominator for people to use one credit card over another was the sense of control that they would have over that card, knowing and understanding how they spent and feeling in control. That was across the region the biggest driver for people. So then picture again, if you go to a bank website or to Visa, and I know that you are looking for something that gives you a sense of control, I'm serving you the features that gives you control. It's a good statement with pie charts, understand where you spend your money, you get SMS reminders when they're spending, All these different features will help you feel comfortable and you will choose your credit card over another. And again, you can build a segment, you can identify the people, you find a profile, so you figure when this person is coming to my website, what to serve in terms of an ad, what to serve in terms of a customer journey and where to lead those people. Just by simply understanding zero-party data and then tying this back to your database so you can flag each member of your database or what segment they belong to so you can serve them more appropriately. It can help you to guide your innovation in your product work and so many other things. So that would be the level of zero-party data that can help you to identify very clearly what people are looking for from that end. Now, when you go into first-party data, we differentiate 3 different levels. So one is an analyzed kind of phase where you look at the data in terms of what is the past, what has happened, to understand, how many customers do I have, what kind of customers do I have, where do they live, what do they do, where do they click, So that's all the analysis, and you have dashboards, and you can figure out very clearly what's the base of your business. And frankly, my client base, when I talk to them, I would say 40–50% of the clients don't have a solid understanding who their customers are, which is the start of the problem if you don't know that. So just by having some simple analytics, pairing this up with some zero-party data that we just discussed will give you a very clear understanding on who's coming and hopefully also why are they coming, which you can do a lot within the marketing space. Now, when you move on into the next level, so from analysis into prediction, then you can start using your data to start predicting what's happening in the future. So let's say you have 12 months of solid data on your database, and you take those 12 months and you take the first 10 months and you train a model, a predictive model, to help you understand out of my database who is most likely to buy a certain product within the next 30 days. So you train the model on the first 10 months, and then you take the algorithm that comes out of the model, apply it to the next month, the 11th month, and you figure how accurate it is actually because you have the data. And then you see how accurate it is. Then you take that and retrain the model again and test it on the 12th month. And then you get to a level where you have a very sharp understanding actually of who out of your database is likely to buy within the next 30 days, which then gives you a very clear understanding on how you can actually help these customers to really find the right product to do so. So I'll give you an example. When we worked with a bank, and they had like, I don't know, 11 million customers, and it's dreamland, of course, for any data guy when it comes to the amount of data. It's not dreamland when it comes to all the security and all the issues that come along with it to make it safe. But what we have been able to accomplish there, to train the data, train the model, and figure out on that data the top 15% that our propensity model came up with, were capturing 83% of the buyers for the next 30 days. When you just let that sink into your mind, saying, if you had, let's say, 1 million customers or even 100,000 customers, and you would be able to predict by a 70–80% likelihood whether someone is likely in the next 30 days to buy a product from you, then of course you can capture this. You make sure that this person is not going outside but staying with you in that window. So it works like with propensity drivers, and has different profile types that can help you then identify those people and really market to those people accordingly. So having all of this now, when you think of, we talked about the zero-party data, we talked about the first-party data, and you bring those two things together, it can help you to understand who will buy, why they will buy, when they will buy, and where, in terms of what channel. So it gives you the whole view of what you need to know to market within your database. So here's an example. Alice is by 70% likely to go into a fixed deposit. I know that Alice, as a customer, we have flagged her as a legacy builder from our segmentation, so I understand the profile, how old she is and what kind of motivations she has and so forth. Then I will also know what is the window of that 30 days for Alice, actually, that I should actually contact her, and how should I contact her, on what channel. So this gives you the whole way of understanding on how and where and when to contact your customers to maximize your revenue in terms of cross-selling, upselling on your database. But not only that, once you have that, you have the profile of the people that are most interested in that specific product. You can then start and building a lookalike model, saying, okay, I want to have same people that buy with us. Likely, if I find similar people outside, they will also buy with us. So you're taking your DNA of customers of who's likely to buy and taking this into a lookalike model and go outside and look for new customers. Again, it increases your chances to find similar people to buy already and have success and grow your market share. So all this becomes something that comes together with the zero data and the first-party data. And then, of course, it goes one level up again into a prescribed marketing, if you like, where it's like a hyper-personalization, where we would be able, and with some clients, technically we can already, we can identify a person in real time coming to the website, either from the database or on a lookalike basis on likelihood of what this person is looking like. We would know, where is the person in the funnel? What is the person looking for? Is it upper funnel and we need to lead into a journey like this? Is it mid funnel? Is it lower funnel? Is it a segment that is more looking for control, to stick with that example, or is it a segment that looks for something else? What ads shall I serve? What journey shall I propose? It's a prescribed way of doing marketing, taking people by the hand and leading them through the journey to make them find what they're looking for quicker and better, which makes the chances of you having a sale at the end much higher. So you can do this within the people on your database, of course, that's the easiest once you have all the data. But then you can also do this with people coming from outside, because you can build the profile, you can identify people, maybe not by 80%, 70%, by 60%. And you have a much higher chance to serve the right things to them at the right moment when they come to your website or to your app or to whatever digital platform you're working from. So summing this all up as being my last chart here, so the benefits, as I alluded in the first place, not only that people want personalization marketing, but it's also highly beneficial for the business. What we get from zero and first party data is a very clear understanding of our customers, which is the most essential thing in marketing you can have. detailed, structured, comprehensive. What is it that actually I need to serve them? What is it that I need to actually develop in terms of new product, and so forth and so forth. Second, I can build an actionable segmentation. Who do I need to focus on? I cannot make everyone happy. Let's focus on something. Let's have the dollars that we have spent wisely. Where shall we focus? Why should we focus there? How should we focus there? Very critical to segment that. And then lastly, of course, the last bit is the last mile, is the effective activation. What's the right time? What's the right channel? What's the right little message? That's the whole science at the end that really drives it home. So we would have all three, but of course, and Mahmood will talk a little bit more about this, you have to get your game right. You have to collect the data, you have to structure the data, you have to make the data actionable for you. But the returns are almost by default there if you do it right. So I can only urge you to kind of go deeper into the topic. As I mentioned earlier, I'm coming from advertising, which is far removed from what I'm talking about here. But to me, this is the holy grail of marketing going forward, which I believe the impact of AI and machine learning will be bigger than the internet had impact originally. So from my end, that was my contribution here, Gordon. So maybe I pass this over to you again.
Sure. Thank you very much, Laurenz. We do have a question from the floor and wondering what your perspective, or perhaps to draw from your experience, what are some other unique advantages would we be able to leverage from zero-party data? So as compared to, say, first-party data, what are the unique advantages you have, zero versus first?
Well, the beauty about zero-party data is you can ask anything you want to ask. While first-party data, you have to live with what people leave as a footprint, as a digital footprint. So it can give you an understanding of what happened in the past, and then the machine can predict what that means for the future. But you can only fish in the pond that's already known. While when you go into zero-party data, you can open up a new pond. You can extend the pond. You can figure out new ways on how to market to either new people or to the same people in new ways, which the first-party data cannot tell you. It's a huge difference, and that's why the combination of the two really is the maximum that can help you to learn and do better marketing.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next we have Mahmood to speak, and he will be touching on how we can build a meaningful view of your customers and how we might even enter into collaborative partnerships with others to share insights and analytics. Mahmood, over to you, please.
Thank you, Gordon. So you and Laurenz talked about the importance of the zero and first-party data, and Laurenz talked about the potential and the opportunity for putting machine learning and get some of the algorithms to give us some of the growth opportunities, multipliers that everyone wants. I'm going to talk a little about how this data can be earned, collected, expanded, and applied type of thing. So starting from what methods work, what we have noticed with the businesses that we have worked with and clients that I have worked with, there are a few ground rules. There are some of the steps that are common. And I think it's good to go through them and see that it's very basic things. First of all, businesses, the first recommendation is make your existing data actionable. Whatever you have, start from that. And your goal should be to eventually try to reach to a 360-degree view of your customer. But you don't need to wait for that. Start from what you have. Even if you have 20 degrees, just don't let the good to be the enemy of the perfect. Once you have started, then you start having strategies in place, policies in place to grow your data pool and customer insights. And then you reach to a maturity level when you realize that you want to remove the silos among the various data pools that you have. And that becomes another opportunity to unlock value. And on the last end of the maturity, the frontier, which is a lot of businesses now going towards that, is to be able to create a collaboration with other parties in your value chain, where you are able to create some partnership consortium on the data and analytics to go to the larger expansion. Now, of course, the very first question to ask is that what makes us believe that the customer consumers would be willing to share their information. What are the rules there to engage with them and convince them and motivate them to work and share their information? This is especially important because more and more we see that the consumers are wary of their privacy. They want to have the ad blockers and everything. They want the brands to interact with them on their terms. And all the brands are now moving towards respecting those needs by the customers more and more. However, research also shows that 75% of customers are willing to share their personal data, their information with the brands that they trust. So it all comes back together that can you create a trust relationship with your customers? And there are some ground rules there too. One of them is primary, offer visible value to your customer. Make sure that the value is specific and visible. Be transparent to them, respect them and be transparent to them. Tell them what is the data you collect and why do you collect them. So they also appreciate your work. Make the experience easy. That's a very important part. We are going to talk about it a little more because the experience is going to build towards that trust and towards the earning the data. And ultimately, the trust to your brand is going to be most important. So make sure that your brand stays trustworthy throughout this exercise that you do. And of course, as I said, you want to do a purpose-oriented data collection. One of the things that I think Laurenz were alluding to between like what is the difference between what is the value from zero party versus first party. The zero party data can be purpose-oriented. So decide what is the purpose that you want. And of course, some of the steps are quite common knowledge, invitations to events, type of values that the customers appreciate in your business, webinars, info sessions, content. Content seems to be appreciated by customers quite a bit. Content that is relevant to them. It can be guides, newsletter, ebooks. It can be media and entertainment. Free consultation, intro session, giving more information to your customers. Product configurators are also some things that people like. So they can configure that product that you offer towards their needs and their the need that they have at that time, which is a very important part, and I'll come back to that. If you are in a hurry to get a lot of inputs and everything, lucky draws are the best options always for the like the volume of information you want to get. And then of course memberships, coupons, offers, they become very much type of like very known approaches that have been worked for many years. As one best practice, I wanted to bring up an example by Burger King. They went very honest to their customers. They wanted to ask for the birthdays. And they were saying that, hey, for your birthday, we wanted to send you a gift. We don't know what your birthday is. We just have 1 out of 365 chance that this is your birthday. So just tell us more about you. And it actually worked 8 times more than the generic surveys that they used to send. And again, trust, honesty, being transparent to the customers. Now, the data you collect, again, has to be purpose-oriented. You don't want to collect data for the sake of data. Please avoid that. That's the biggest pitfall. And in order for you to decide what data you need, then you want to have some strategies in place. What are the common strategies that I need to look at to decide what are the data I want? One of the strategies that I wanted to touch on is the strategy to move your customer, shift your relation to customers, to moving them from unknown to anonymous, from anonymous to known, and from known to opt-in. The ultimate relationship of the marketeer is that when the customer trusts you and tells you that, hey, I give my consent, talk to me more. And that's where you want to be. Now, to give an example, in the domain of retail and commerce, 79% of visitors to the touch points are anonymous. And among that 79%, 80% of them are not being engaged by the brands. That's a huge 64% of the total. Now, research shows that the likelihood increases by 5-fold if those anonymous people are actually engaged with in the right time window. And that becomes one of the areas that, okay, what are the data I want to bring up in order to engage with them? As an example, I mean, this coupon example was one of the practices I wanted to bring up. Now, the next strategy to consider in relationship with your customer and data that you collect is going to be understanding their interest, intent, and understanding when exactly is the time for that. So kind of like goes again deeper towards what value you bring to them. It is interesting to them. It meets the intent that they have at that subject and that time. And then is it the right moment to reach them? And again, it goes back to what Laurenz was building, being relevant to them. Now, as a benchmark that you can rely on, so Forrester was commissioned by Braze to go through 500 billion messages in 2 years. And they came up with some benchmark results of when you put together the why and what, and when you put together the moment. So for example, if you look at the benchmark results on the right-hand side, the first one, lift in open race for Android push. When you put it relevant to people in terms of their interest and intent, the multiplier that they saw generic on a 2 years window, it was 1.5x. When they put the right moment on it, it goes to 5.5x. It goes to, again, to tell about grow the data pool towards those information, purposeful data information that helps you to move your customers' interaction from interest to intent to moment. And of course, the question is that, hey, do we have the right baseline to go through those paths that I was mentioning? Now, the first thing you come up with is that, hey, I have grown the data. I reached a maturity that I need to remove the silos of the data I have in order to unlock more value, in order to create a better 360 interaction with my customers. Very often we have seen the very first silo that needs to be removed is the silo between marketing data and sales data. After that, it's any other touch points that you have with your customer, usually customer services, and especially bring in your analytics data. Very often we see that people collect data, first party, zero party, but they don't reconnect their analytics into it, which is a missed opportunity. I have listed a sample of brands, providers in each of these functions just to show that, hey, if you work with any of these type of providers and equivalent, that means you have a baseline. You can start. You have something that it's a start point for you. Now, I wanted to actually jump over to this and come back to the previous slide. The next frontier for growing your data and expanding is to go and look into your value chain and partner with other partners that bring value. So McKinsey has put this actually as one of the key areas of growth in the coming years. The idea is that we said that we want to have go through the journey of interest, intent, and moment. Now, for your own customers, you know that the intent and the interest and the moment you can calculate. But very often, if you want to expand it further to a larger audience, then you don't have the information, you don't have the reach to those people. But if you partner with others in the value chain, you would be able to create a situation of a win-win-win to be able to reach to those customers. And I give you an example here. This is an example of a giant electronic company which did a data consortium, an analytic consortium with their value chain retailers and telcos in order to reach to a larger audience and serve the consumers and the customers better, more targeted, more intent-based. And by collaborating, creating that consortium, they were able to reach to 3x larger audience in about I don't remember exactly, 4 or 5 countries in Southeast Asia Pacific. And that's actually shows the great opportunity which is in that frontier. Now going towards the challenges and some of the solutions, everybody has to be aware of the privacy and security. Again, the 3 ground rules to remember: be ethical, stay with the consent, always seek the consent, and make sure that the purpose is understood. Create the trust. I cannot emphasize on that more. Trust is the most important thing. Build the trust and show the benefits. And in terms of security, make sure that you follow the guidelines, the compliance, the InfoSec recommendations. They are very well understood at this time by the IT and marketing people. And a good practice is to put regular security audits to make sure that you actually have your customer data protected and shielded very well. And to come to a summary, what we said is hey, go for building a 360 view of your customers. When you collect your zero party data, connect them with your other parts of your data, first party, other things, and make sure that then you grow your data pool and insight. And once you grow your pool and insight internally, then you reach to a point of, okay, externally, how can I go further with a partnership? And by that means, you would be able to then serve your customer better. So then it becomes a win-win. You earn and you grow your data. Gordon, that was the end of my presentation. And if there is any other further clarification or anything that you would want us.
Sure. Thank you very much, Mahmood. We do have a question, and I'll pose it to both Laurenz as well as yourself, Mahmood. And it's from Prakash. The example of Burger King getting data such as birthday is a good one, right? However, in Prakash's own experience, let's say, for example, very few people respond, right? Not the full database, only 20% respond to this birthday question. How would we deal with this? As a brand, you can't use AI, you can't use machine learning if data is so sparsely populated. How do we address a practical problem like this?
Can I have a go first, and that leaves Mahmood some time to have a more fundamental answer, because he would probably have better advice there. I think the most critical bit is to understand whether a data-centric strategy makes sense for you. If so, then you need to articulate what that is, and you need to build it up in a way that is that sets a fundamental kind of approach, and then invest in it. So if you believe it makes sense to you, you come up with a strategy, and then you figure, okay, here's the data we have already. We connect sales and marketing data. And now when we're using ML, like machine learning, what would really be beneficial if we knew all the birth dates, let's say, as an example, because the model shows that it would actually give us great yield if we understood that. Then you can start incentivizing people giving their birthday. So then it makes sense. So let's say you are a Burger King, or let's say you are a retailer and you give a 5% discount or whatever it is to collect those kind of data points. Then, and you know that this is valuable for you because the machine has shown you, I mean, there would be upsides to this, then you need to invest in this as an example. But the birth dates come only at a stage. I think first is the strategy. Second is using the data that you have already, as Mahmood said earlier. And then you can see what are the elements that are missing, and you fill them in by either incentivizing people to tell you about it, running research, or other means. That would be my take, but I'm sure Mahmood has something more clever than me.
I very much agree, Laurenz. I think the mindset should be that it is a growing journey. You accumulate. If you find out that your colleagues and your internal stakeholders are looking for the one-time hit, I believe personally that's a wrong mindset. That actually shows that you don't respect your customer the way you should. 20% response is not a bad thing actually, because it grows. Those 20% will talk to their other friends. The word of mouth kicks in. And your next one and next one gradually builds on. So the idea of build, grow, and expand works out. So pretty much in line with what Laurenz, you were saying.
Now, I do have another follow-on question to that. Now, what happens if you get people who put in fake information and there's no way to verify fake information? How do we deal with a practical problem like this?
I guess
Doesn't it go back to the
go ahead.
trust? No, please go, Laurenz.
No, well, I think it's a common thing to clean up the data, and it's part of that, of course, and you not necessarily always can verify it or not. You will always have to deal with that. There are means to verify things along the way and update, but cleaning the data is an ongoing issue that you will always have. And it comes back to the point of trust, what Mahmood said earlier. If I, as a customer, feel like that you are trustworthy as a company, and when I give you my data that actually will benefit me, I'm more likely to tell you the truth, right? So will everyone tell you the truth? Probably not, but the likelihood of truth is higher if you show that you earn and you kind of use that data efficiently for the help, not only of your business, but also for the customer. So.
Brilliant. I think we'll move on. Thank you so much for your responses, Laurenz, as well as Mahmood. Now, this wouldn't be a Mediacorp webinar if Mediacorp doesn't talk about how we've implemented our own first-party data solution. Now, Mediacorp had resolved to build its own first-party management platform for years now. I think since the late 2014 and developed it further. So we've developed a people-based targeting strategy to have one unified picture of our audiences. This meant launching our own single sign-on, and we call it MeID. Here, user preferences across all of Mediacorp's digital platforms are unified. Our recommendation engines are that much sharper, and also campaign targeting is made more relevant for our audiences. MeID consolidates all of this data into one universal ID. Users can now be tracked and targeted with a lot of precision. All of this anonymized data provides our marketers with archetypes of different user profiles. And in Mediacorp, we've got such granular segments that currently number as many as 392 different kinds of audience types for the purposes of ad targeting. So we're able to optimize our campaigns. We're able to make that better and better over time. Now, to the next slide, please. The benefits are really very, very clear for us, right? There is higher user retention because target audiences are more likely to consume the content that we are recommending. And also there's a higher click-through rate for campaigns that are run on our platform. So first-party data enables us to build user profiles based on historical behavior. We are also now able to identify segments that are not just important to us because we want to retain people and get them to watch, listen, and read on our platforms, but we are also able to make to target them together with advertisers who work with us on our platform. We are able to match segments with campaigns that much better, resulting in higher sales conversions. And all of these performance metrics are very measurable and attributable because we have custom built our solution from the ground up. Now, if you want to be able to get started on this, to work with first-party data, to work with zero-party data, over here at Mediacorp, we're happy to help you out. Laurenz and Mahmood are also glad to be able to come alongside you to support you in your data endeavors. Now, with that, I'll end our section of explaining what our solutions at Mediacorp are. And also, are there any further questions from the floor that we'll be able to take up? If not, then I'll hand the time over to Nick.
Thanks, Gordon. I'm back to share some goodies. But first, do you know the do's and don'ts of advertising in Singapore? Well, yes, no, not sure. Well, we at AAMS are excited to announce our brand new one-day AAMS Certified Marketer Program with SUTD Academy on 1st of August 2024. This introductory program will cover the fundamentals of the SCAP, the Singapore Code of Advertising Practice, which is crucial knowledge for every marketer. So from our research, surprisingly, not many marketers are aware of it. So if you're unfamiliar with this, we highly recommend sending your marketers to attend this program. Now, the closing date is 5th July, and we look forward to seeing you there. By the way, this program is SSG funded, so you pay only $327 if you're a citizen or PR under 40, or $127 if you're a citizen or SME sponsored and over 40, instead of paying $1,090. Making it a valuable investment in your team skills, also to be a better, more accountable marketer. So details are on the SUTD Academy website. So please scan this QR code here to learn more. Hope to see you all there. Back to you, Gordon. Yep.
There have been a flurry of questions have come, but unfortunately, we've run out of time. However, there will be a follow-up EDM that will be sent to you with a link so that you are able to review the Q&A. And I'll ask the panelists for some closing thoughts. Over to you, Laurenz and Mahmood.
So from my end, I think it's critical to not go for the quick win. Go for a long-term strategy. Go for understanding how your business can set up in the next 5 years to be more data-centric. Figure out the steps to get there and conquer it bit by bit, as opposed to going for quick wins, and you're gonna not gonna benefit from that. So a long-term strategy will help you, and then break it down to steps. I think that's critical. Mahmood, what do you think?
Very much so, and I would like to re-emphasize in the same line that start from what you have, especially on smaller businesses. Larger businesses, they have a lot of resources. When you come to more of a SME level, then you need to be more mindful of how to start, how fast to go, and starting from what you have, to me, is the most important thing, and make them actionable. And if you don't have a data strategy yet, start from your data strategy.
Okay, thank you very much, Mahmood. And those of you who have asked questions on the platform, we will address them by email. And thank you very much for attending this morning's Understand First-Party Data versus Zero-Party Data's Impact on Marketing Strategy. And with that, we'll close the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Cheers. Bye-bye.